today to talk about a certain someone, a guy we've been waiting for about, I think, 9 years.
About, yeah, 9 years.
And it is
Max Payne.
Woohoo!
Everybody's favorite drunken, painkiller pill addicted, self-loathing, world-hating, gun-toting anti-hero.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you've been playing it.
I've been playing Max Payne 3, which is awesome. I was a big fan of the first two games. And like, I guess like a lot of people, was a little distraught, confused when the first screenshots of Max being bald and wearing this hideous, awesome Hawaii shirt. And, thinking, what on earth is this? But all my fears were put to rest when I saw a preview version of the game late last year, and the final game is everything I hoped for, pretty much.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. What about the story? And
It takes place an unknown amount of time after the last game. Max has gone to Brazil, Sao Paulo, to work in private security, which means he gets to shoot people that try to rob rich people. He's been hired or contacted by an old friend from the police academy called Passos, and together they're working for the Branco brothers, who are like three rich, really rich guys. And apparently, Sao Paulo is a pretty grisly place, so you need a lot of private security there. So you get to shoot a lot of bad guys.
Wearing a hat, white shirt.
Only at a very short part of the game, actually.
Okay.
But the story starts out, Max is working as a security guard, or security chief, and the trophy wife of the oldest brother gets kidnapped by a bunch of ghetto crooks, and so Max has to go save her, of course, and it all sort of snowballs from there, and then there's conspiracies and some paramilitary guys get involved, and it has all the stuff you've come to expect from a Max Payne story. I think actually the first two games had a sort of tendency in their cutscenes to sort of almost become like too bleak and too almost like becoming a self-parody in the style of the narrative and the.
But then again, isn't that like, if we're looking at it now? I mean, 10 years ago it was sort of a...
Yeah, that might be. And I think, Max Payne 3 walks that line very elegantly. You know, I mean, it's funny, and Max Payne is genuinely funny at times, but it's also still very dark and very serious without becoming too dark or too serious.
The old games, as you said, had these comic style cutscenes.
Yeah.
How is it in this one?
They've gone with the sort of full-blown Rockstar, fully animated cutscene style, like from Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption. But it still has a sort of comic book style to it still, where you do multiple frames and panels at once, and part of the image freeze frames and words pop up in the middle of it, like.
So still got that feeling.
Yeah, whenever somebody says something important or a new name is introduced to something, you'll get that in big block letters over the screen. And the way the cutscenes and the action interacts sets just this really awesome pace of ups and downs. And though some of the cutscenes go quite long, I don't really feel like they're ever unwelcome or that the game gets boring. I mean, I never had the urge to hit the skip button because the writing, the acting, all that stuff is actually really spot on.
Okay, great.
But the bullet time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the bullet time. I think this is the best shooter I've played in at least a year. It's so good. They've added the cover system, which some people might find sacrilegious. I don't. I think it works great. And you spend a lot more time shoot dodging and flying through the air than you do hiding behind cover or pillars or whatever. But it is a nice feature that you can sort of easily hide behind a pillar or a
it's not
or whatever.
It's
not Gears of Pain or anything like that. Okay. No, you spend most of your time guns blazing, full out out in the open. There's a lot of variety to it as well, both in the types of enemies you fight, the types of weapons you get. You can only carry 2 pistols and a 2-handed weapon at once, like a rifle or a shotgun or whatever. But that never really feels like a hindrance. It feels more like an excuse to throw a lot of really fun weapons at you. And I think the pacing and the way the action is broken up by cutscenes, some of which are really long actually,
How long is the single player campaign?
It took me about 10 hours playing on normal, and that included dying a bunch of times. It's not an easy game, and they've retained the old. There's no regenerative health. They've retained the old painkiller mechanics. So if you get shot, the only way to recover health is by using painkillers. So often you'll be scrunching around looking,
So a bit old school.
Really old school in that regard. And that took me about 10 hours. Also, the loading times when you die are almost instant, which is wonderful.
Okay. Oh yeah, we love that.
And then, of course, once you finish the game, you can unlock the even harder hardcore difficulty, and you unlock the New York Minute game type where you're playing. It's a sort of time trial where you have a minute to finish the level, and you get extra bonus for doing headshots.
So basically the old Max Payne New York Minute.
Totally,
Yeah.
and also there's a bunch of collectibles in each level. So I'm planning on replaying the whole thing because I want to find them all.
Okay, awesome.
There's like every level has a couple of weapons that are each split into 3 parts, and if you find all 3 parts, you get a golden version of the gun. So whenever you pick that gun up, it's golden. And if you don't like golden weapons, you can turn it off.
Okay.
But there's stuff like that, and then like little clues and hints to the story, like finding newspaper clips and photos and stuff that's lying around, and then Max will tell an anecdote every time you find one of them. So that's cool. So I feel like about 10 hours of single player, and I want to replay the whole thing again. So
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good value, I guess.
But that's the single player, and I've been watching you play a bit of this, and it looks gorgeous. As you said, the bullet time is amazing, but there's something called multiplayer.
There's multiplayer in Max Payne now, which is new.
Yeah.
And just hearing about the idea, and you wonder how on earth could that possibly work with the bullet time and everything. But they've made this really elegant solution. So whenever somebody goes into bullet time, anyone he can see also goes into bullet time, and anyone who can see one of the people in bullet time also go into bullet time. So if I move in the corner and I'm leaping through the air, and nobody can see me, nobody else goes into bullet time. But if I can see you, you go into bullet time, and if Dory, our camera guy, can see you, he also goes into bullet time.
Okay.
And then other than that, it follows it has a sort of Call of Duty-ish unlocking system where you level up and you access new weapons, level your weapons up, and then as you're playing and as you're shooting guys, you load up this adrenaline type energy that you can use for different sorts of temporary unlocks that you pick at the beginning of the game. So like one of them, at level 1 you get a bigger gun, at level 2 you get this big ass chain gun, at level 3 you get a grenade launcher, and another one at level 2 you might get like a radar, so you can see where opponents are.
This is basically perks again.
Yeah, it's basically perks again in a sort of temporary style. So you get it, you use it for a little amount of time, and then you have to recharge it by killing dudes. Yeah. And I was surprised by how fun multiplayer actually is.
How many players can you be?
I think up to 16. Yeah, 16.
16.
And the map scale. So if you're 8, it's one size, or less than 8.
That's a smart move.
And then when you get above 8 players, the map grows. And my favorite game type is this sort of mini campaign of where you play 5 games in a row on the same map that sort of has its own little storyline. So the first round might just be straight team deathmatch, and then the second one, one team might be protecting a VIP that the other team has to kill. Third one team might have to place bombs, and then the other team has to stop them. And fourth one, you're running and stealing briefcases full of money, and then there's a final showdown in the 5th round where it's straight team deathmatch again, but then the team who won the most of the previous rounds gets an advantage.
And it's random how this is put together?
Yeah, or I think it actually sort of balances it, so the team that's behind gets an upper leg in one of the rounds maybe. When I played it, at least when I played it, all the rounds we played ended 2-2 before the final one. And it plays really, really well. I'm guessing it won't knock Call of Duty off the spot as the #1 multiplayer game, but I was surprised by how fun it actually was. It's really fun and it's well thought out.
So multiplayer is more than just, we had to add multiplayer because that's what everybody wants?
It doesn't feel like that at all.
Okay.
It feels like a thought out Max Payne type thing that it's a proper part of the game.
So to sum up, Max Payne 3 single player and multiplayer?
Max Payne 3 is my favorite shooting game in the past year at least. It's so good. That's really worth the wait.
That's good news.